All right, green-black Citadel. I think this is my favorite combo deck in the current format. If you haven't seen this before, this is a combo deck that in conjunction with Wildgrowth Walker and Path of Discovery gaining us lots of life and Bolas the Citadel, we play through our entire deck, which eventually lets us loop right back around through our deck a number of times we want with Gaea's Blessing to drain our opponent out in chunks of 10 for an unlimited amount of health. The thing I really like about this deck is, unlike a lot of combo decks, we're not all in on our combos. So because Wildgrowth Walker is a combo piece for us, we just have the Explore package, which is decent against aggro, and then we have cards like Wayward Swordtooth and Doom Whisperer, which can just like attack our opponent. So, hey, Incendium, thank you for the 29 months. I appreciate that. Welcome back. So one of the reasons I really like this deck is because people, especially post-board, will focus on trying to beat your combo half, and you'll just like beat them with this motley crew of Explore creatures and like 5/5 dinos. Have I had a favorite deck yet this season? Bant Bow is leading the race for deck I'm going to play at the Mythic Championship qualifier. This is just wonderful. This is I like to call the start of this year the Magic the Gathering experience. The Mulligan, the 7th lander into the 6-card no land hand. Never forget, Magic is an incredibly low variance game that no way resembles gambling. Incredibly skill based. Now, worth noting here, this is a game where Grazer looks much worse than Landmore Elves. And against non-aggressive decks, Grazer is definitely worse than Landmore Elves, but I think this deck is good enough against non-aggressive decks that I want the hedge against aggro.
Wild animals I like. People, tear it down. Tear it all down.
Really hoping to draw like Jadelight Ranger here, because that adds a little bit of pressure to the board while also giving us some lands here. I didn't even swing to assert dominance. Sorry. Not on my A game this morning.
The mysteries of life are endless.
I mean, unlike the Nexus deck, this deck is very apparent when it's deterministic and you can no longer win. So I think there's a big difference between this deck and the Reclamation decks, in my opinion. Opponent's also stumbling here. So like if I run off like Black Source, if I run off a Black Source for the Doom Whisperer, the Doom Whisperer finds us the land for the Citadel, and then we likely win the game from there. There are a number of iterations of Bant midrange going around. The opponent notably looks to be playing the Explore package, which differentiates them a bit from other decks in the format that are similar. No, those cards kind of provide unique effects that aren't replaceable to Greater Aura. You could maybe skimp on Swordtooth by playing some other acceleration, but Path of Discovery, you can't play less than 3. Land, please. Perfect. This is my 6/6. If they tap out again next turn, we're probably going to kill them. I don't even have to surveil. That's awesome. Alright, so I'm going to try and surveil to a Wildgrowth Walker here. Because if I hit a Wildgrowth Walker, and I have to remember I'm taking 5 here. Should you have surveilled in response to the Explore trigger? No, not necessarily. Alright, I think I got one more hit in me here. There just aren't any Wildgrowth Walkers in the top third of my deck. That's really unfortunate. Alright, I think I just leave Jadelight there and hope for the best. Oh, I guess I should have. I'm going to draw the Jadelights. That was bad. I should have drawn the land, is what I should have done there.
There is wonder in a blade of grass.
Alright, so I'm going to 5 here. There's a Wildgrowth Walker on top of my deck. We can likely win the game. This is fine. And I don't mind finding these after I find a Wildgrowth Walker. Right, and then we bricked and died. And that's just, you know, Mulligan, no land all land 7 into no land 6. Then not find key combo card in the top third of our deck. It's just how the Magic the Gathering cookie crumbles sometimes. You're gonna lose a lot of games in Magic where you just have no player agency over the outcome. It's one of those things you gotta just shake it off and move along to the next one. Yeah, I don't know, Rich, and I definitely think there's some like sample bias there. I definitely have not been seeing a lot of aggro on Arena. So Citadel could really screw you. So, I mean, how did Citadel screw me, Stormy Waters? That kind of had nothing to do with Citadel and everything to do with, like, not having a 4 of in the top third of my deck. If Magic is gambling, the efficient aggro decks are the house taking their cut. That's a great comparison. You'll notice I boarded out... the Sloths here, because they don't really block meaningfully, and the acceleration isn't super important against a mid-range deck. And I brought in Cast Downs for a little bit of interaction, as well as a Blast Zone to increase my land count a little bit. This hand just doesn't do anything. Sure. Yeah, that's true, Tom. If those sloths had been elves, it would have basically been no different. Yay! Magic! Yay! Woo! Magic! Yikes. Yikes. So, Casper, rather than making just like blatant random nonsense speculation, can you articulate your point? Can you explain what you think, how you think what you're saying applies to other people? This is, honestly, it's funny. One of the reasons I really like this deck is because with the Explore package, it's one of the most consistent things in the format. This is bold as all get out. Just like double remove my Explore creatures here. That's like really good for me with this cast down in my hand. I think I'm actually gonna go ahead. No! No, oh, no. No. Cancel. Alright, I wanna float and then do this. Find a land. No, that deck's not really built for best of 3 hider, and I don't play best of 1, so I don't find it very fun. This worked out so incredibly well for my opponent last time, they decided to do it again, sure. I get Disdainful Stroked here. That's unfortunate. Maybe I'm supposed to go Swordtooth plus Jadelight because they're representing Stroke. Maybe. I could see that. Stani. Yep. I'll close out real quick here. I'm 1 permanent off of turning this on, which probably means I'm dead here. Although, I guess I have okay blocks with just a 4-3. Take 8 here down to 3. I have no idea, Orissus. I'm going to be honest and tell you I haven't read Frank's article start to finish because I understand the math behind it, so I don't need to just, like, reference random tables all the time. Frank's article is basically just a TLDR on how to use a hypergeometric distribution, which if you really want to dig into Magic, you should take the time to understand how to do that. So if I block here, I take 10 and go to 1. I think that's fine. Because the Bond of Flourishing is going to gain me a little bit of life next turn. I'm also going to have another 5/5. Alright, so you're saying there's a chance. Math is hard. It is quite challenging sometimes. That is a pretty decent draw, all things considered. I might just trade in this blast zone for their 2 elves here, just because I'm so low. And it uses my mana this turn. I think I'm just gonna cash in the blast zone here. Like, I don't really want to crank it up to 3 because I have a bunch of good 3s, right? Yeah, finding a removal spell for Deputy of Detention, if it resolves, is like probably GG. That's unfortunate because it means they're likely to dig to Frilled Mystic. Really just need to find a creature to like get some explore going off this Path of Discovery. So I'm gonna upkeep this trophy. Wow, I'm glad I waited on that. So do I kill the deputy or do I kill this? I think I kill the deputy still, right? Because it lets me dig with the explore triggers. And I think it gains me enough life that I'm okay with Shalai getting to activate. That makes sense. So I gain a little bit less here, but like now they have less power in board too. Well, they played it at end of turn because they wanted to get the Shalai into place so they could attack. I still gained 6 here, which is like pretty good for us. Maybe I should start attacking with these 5/5s. I feel like I should probably start attacking with these 5/5s.
Have you ever lost a home?
Yeah, exactly. Gaining a little bit of life here means I can afford to be kind of aggressive. I think we're probably dead here at this point. We fumbled and bumbled a little bit too long. I'm going to take at least 5 next turn. Yep. It's pretty aggressive.
I've seen puppies whine less than you.
Like, they can't really afford to attack with everything here, right? So we'll kill them on the backswing. They know my draw next turn is, like, kind of a blank, though. Maybe I'm just supposed to, like, hope to dig for Citadel and hit, like, Jadelight and stuff off the top of my deck. So all of their stuff gets one larger on an attack. So if they attack with everything, I'm going to go, like, trade, chump. And then I'd kill them on the backswing, so that's probably not what they want to do. Yeah, attacking with just this makes sense. I feel like these games did a good job of, like, highlighting some of the power of this deck. Like, we had 2 games in a row there where we got like, pretty incredibly unfortunate with our opening hands and the way our draws ended up lining up. And we, like, still played a game of Magic in spite of the bad variants. Which is, like, all you can really ask for. Your good draws are great, and your bad draws are, like, still serviceable in a lot of situations. Yes, Brimstone, there is a Sultai Diviner deck that you can find on my website that I think is very reasonable as far as Apex Predator decks are concerned. I really like that one when we played it the other day. Benno MD, thank you for the 2-month resub. I appreciate that. Welcome back. Thanks for keeping me around. Hope you're having a good start to your week. In my experience, Grixis is actually still bad, and people are playing it in spite of it being bad. One of the things you need to remember is that your anecdotal experience on the ladder is not data, is not meaningful sample sizes, and the sample sizes of a couple players that you watch stream are not meaningful sample sizes. You need to understand that we are still, this format is still very new. We've only been playing it for 2 weeks, and there have not been a lot of major tournaments in these 2 weeks. So we genuinely don't know what's good, bad, or otherwise in a meaningful way. There are still players even high up on the ladder that are experimenting with different ideas, trying to figure out what exactly is good and bad and otherwise. Here's my Doom Boy. Would not be surprised to get absorbed here, but I don't have anything like Duress in my deck game 1, so the way we play through Absorb is just by jamming our stuff into it. Hey, Weeb Army. Thank you for the 13 months of support. I appreciate that. Welcome back. Thanks for keeping me around. I think, as with most well-designed, well-balanced formats, Bano, it's not as simple as saying this thing is better or worse than this other thing. In my experience, the Bant Bow deck is much better against aggro and Wilderness Reclamation decks, while struggling against mid-range decks that tend to play Hydroid Graces. Don't mind me, just digging for my card that kills you. I think that's fine. I don't know exactly how low I want to go here. Alright, I'm going to stop there, because Bond of Flourishing digs 3 deep and gives me some life back. Thunk. I'm actually going to wait to play this because I want to crack Memorial with Folly this turn. Wow! Someone that's still playing Chemist's Insight and Narset the format. That's bold. Wonder how that's working out for him. And get rid of this and pass the turn.
This isn't a fight you can win.
Do you have your 4th Absorb? You've already played 3 of them. You do not. Alright, we get lucky here, they're dead. Yikes. That is not the start of being lucky. Okay, that is the start of being lucky. You just need a Wildgrowth Walker now. Okay, he might be dead this turn. Doom Whisperer probably means they're dead. Grazer here is great because it double explores. Yeah, Doom Whisper added a lot of consistency to this archetype. Yeah, we should be deterministic at this point. Hey, Captain 101 Nemo, thank you for the Twitch Prime support. I appreciate that. Welcome, welcome. Thanks for keeping me around. Yeah, with Doom Whisperer, we just can't brick at this point because we have too much life. So, the way this works is because we have the Memorials in our deck, we're going to be able to loop our deck indefinitely, gaining a lot of life, and then they're actually at 30 here, so we're going to see a triple Citadel necessary activation. You remember that time we were at 6? I'm going to turn off, or turn on auto order triggered abilities. And our opponent might not have seen this deck before, so they probably don't know that they're just deterministically dead at this point. So, this is the part, so we get to bin this, which shuffles our graveyard back into our deck here. Jumpstart X with the 6-month resub, I appreciate that. Welcome back, thanks for keeping me around. So now, we're looking for another copy of Citadel to be on top of our deck. Yeah, I agree. They might be thinking they can untap and Gaia's Wrath us. Alright, so now we toggle on full control mode, and we do this, and then in response to this, we use this to sacrifice a bunch of our Explorer creatures here. So we submit. They lose 10. We have another Citadel come into play. And we continue playing cards off the top of our deck. I guess I technically paid to bin that. And we bin Gaia's Blessing, which now shuffles everything that we just got rid of back into our graveyard, or back into our deck. So now we loop through our deck again. Yeah, you gotta play quick, especially with this one where we're kind of running against the clock. So, because of the Gaia's Blessings, we can loop through our deck an arbitrarily large number of times. So, it's gonna take us a hot second here, because I have to, like, play through and, like, get all these creatures and permanents into play, but eventually they're gonna lose that game. Put these 4 Duress into my deck, cut these 4 Arboreal Grazers, and click submit. Click submit sounds good. The 7 heroes coming out with the brand new Prime support. Hey, appreciate that. Welcome, welcome. Thanks for keeping me around. Yeah, they looked like they came to the conclusion that we were going to loop them. I mean, comboing with this deck list in paper probably isn't any more or less difficult than comboing with Nexus of Fate, right? How are the Grazers and Bant Bow versus Land Royals? Well, they hedge different matchups, right? So, in any aggressive matchup, the Grazer is better. In any non-aggressive matchup, the Land Royals are better. Something I want to test too, Ralk, which is probably the right answer ultimately. I think there's probably a chance I should just play 8 1-mana accelerants, just like cut the Paradise Druids and play 4 Grazer, 4 Land War. Yeah, I think that's probably right, Navier. Just like max on the 1-drops. Playing 2-mana, 3-mana things on turn 2 is busted. Yeah, this combo becomes deterministic on average much sooner than Nexus becomes deterministic, especially with the addition of the Surveil Demon. When your health total hits a certain point, you just, like, literally can't brick. Pretty easy mulligan here. This is not Hearthstone, so we need some lands to play. I'm going to keep this on the draw with the scry. London mulligans falling down, falling down, falling down. London mulligans falling down now. Please, Watsy. Swing and a miss. Jadelight's actually a very good draw if we hit the green source. If we hit the first green source, the Bond finds us the second, and then Jadelight pulls us up, finding some more lands after that. If this was a London mulligan, what would you have bottomed instead of the Swordtooth if you scrolled? I wouldn't have kept the 6, Tom, which is, again, why the London mulligan is more skill testing and better for Magic than this mulligan system, is the current mulligan system we have encourages you to mulligan bad 7s but keep bad 6s because of the scry potential. The London mulligan is far more skill testing than this mulligan system could ever hope to be. That's going to allow good players to win more often. No preference at all, Curtia. So you let me know whatever works for you.
An open mind.
Great, that's a pretty good setup here. So if we hit a land, we can play a Doom Boy, and then maybe Doom Boy can surveil us into some goodies. That is, unless they punch us in the face again with another discard spell. Yeah, discard spells. Hey, player agency. So we're hoping to draw Jadelight Ranger this turn, or a land, and then Bond of Flourishing into Jadelight. Jadelight is one of our best, like, catch-up style cards in situations like this. Narset's static ability actually is meaningless against our deck. Wow, getting a veto burned on that feels insane. Oh, it does stop Gaea's. That's true. That's a fair actually. It does in fact stop Gaea's from drawing a card. It is mostly meaningless. Are we chucking in my Branchwalker? That's wild. Maybe they think Narset's actually good against us. Again, really hoping for Jadelight Ranger into land. I think we're close enough to garbage time that I'm going to move along here. Opponent drawing multiple cards per turn and has a lot of counter spells in their deck. Tough game there. Took a mulligan into getting triple discarded. Not a whole lot you could do. On the play for the third one here. How far do I tend to go for tournaments? Not very far these days. In fact, going to Iowa this weekend for the Nerd Rage tournament is a little bit outside what I'm willing to drive most of the time, but it's been a while since I've played, and like Matt does commentary and it's only a one-day tournament, so felt like a reasonable time to go. I do like playing Paper Magic on occasion. When I was in the heyday of my grinding, we used to go to every tournament that was less than an 8-hour drive for me, which was a lot of tournaments. See, it's great. Needs some lands, but other than that, quite phenomenal. We have one non-foil card here that shall be our greatest shame, but everything else is nice. No, not super likely to ever make it all the way back out to Philadelphia. I'm going to take their Wrath here. So I think this is pretty likely to be a game where we just get on the board and, like, attack them to death. Do my sponsors hook me up with paper cards? Do I still have paper? So, like, the tournament I'm going to this weekend, one of the subs here in chat mailed me a deck. I sent you a sweet Jund Sarkin list for my monthly, utilizing Dorks, Phoenix, and Domri. Sounds good, Smurf. Thanks for the very generous tier 3. Welcome back. It's actually very uncommon for Magic sponsors to provide cards to the people that they sponsor. It's definitely outside the norm. So, some quality Magic the Gathering happening here, but at least, like, my opponent's also screwed, and we have 2 drops, so, you know, let's go. If we hit the Jade Light before they hit mana for Absorb, we're going to be in an absurd spot. And if they just keep stumbling, they're dead in 3. Wow, electing not to hold Absorb up here feels bold. Just zero reason for me to play into an Absorb. Alright, scale of 1 to dead. Where are we at here? Now I should play into an absorb, right? There's no reason not to. Because they just die. This is good if they have a removal spell, because it makes my things bigger. Yeah, just dead. Nice control deck. I think Esper Bolas is going to be sweet or a dumpster fire. I don't know. I mean, at the court, like, so one of the things I had to do to make the Bolas splash work with the Esper mana base was I had to give up Kaya's Wrath, so that could be a very real cost. Like, it's basically a blue-black deck splashing white and red. A little bit heavier white splash than red splash. Pretty easy mulligan here, no green source. Sand's fine. Perfect. Nope, that was a misclick. Obviously should have put this into play because it's going to cost me 2 life. Looks like it's not going to matter here because I should play a tap land this turn anyways. Solar Blaze. Yeah, I don't have enough red sources to play Solar Blaze, unfortunately. The way I've got the Esper Bolas deck set up, I've only got 6 red sources that aren't Planner Beacon. Grazer and Growth Spiral. And Nissa who shakes the world. Yikes.
That which cannot protect itself. Be wary of the ground you walk on.
They have a lot of acceleration over there, it looks like. I'm gonna put Growth Spiral back into their deck, because it's like not a very good draw for them at this point. Leogarf, thank you very much for the generous Prime support. Welcome back. Thanks for keeping me around. Gonna be a giant Creasus here. They can Creasus for 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. So I can do a Creasus for X's up to 11 here. It's a pretty good last card to have. That is a big in. So I think I'm actually supposed to play Path of Discovery here, because I feel like my best chance to win this game is to like stick Citadel and combo next turn, and my health total is going to be pretty low. But if I like play Citadel and hit Wildgrowth Walker on top of the deck right away, I might be able to get lucky and get there. But we're definitely very likely to lose from this position. Yeah, I'm just gonna lock it up. We were even without that, we're pretty likely to lose from there. So not super surprised. Against any of these, against the mid-range decks, you board out the Grazers and put in removal spells. Against the control decks, you board out Grazers and board in Duress. And for people wondering, well, if you're boarding out the Grazers in 2 matchups, why don't you just cut them? Grazer is really important to not die to aggro. Yeah, Nissa is super powerful for sure. Definitely a Planeswalker I've been impressed with. Playing with and against it. Nissa feels like what I wanted Nikia of the old ways to be. You mean playable? She feels playable? I agree with your assessment. Nikia is not playable and Nissa is. Yeah, an 03 blocking thief is just like a ++ extra icing on the cake. It's like, would you like to spend a removal on my O3? No? Weird. Alright, hoping to draw a land next turn so we can stick this Doom Boy. Boarded tracks. Perfect. My flyer's bigger than your flyer. My flyer's bigger than your flyer. Neener, neener, neener. Are there any good articles on general sideboarding? What's bringing against Troll versus Agalus? Relatively, I feel like I'm always boarding in the answers to what killed me in the previous game. So, there aren't 5 easy tips that the MPL players don't want you to know that'll make you a master at sideboarding. There's really just not a substitute for experience in a game like Magic. Yeah, I'm gonna draw the land next turn, that's fine. There are definitely a lot of flying tramplers in the standard format, you're not wrong. I just like pivot. I think I just pivot. Especially with this trophy in my hand. I have two good pieces of generic advice for sideboarding that should hopefully get you heading down the right direction. The first is that being familiar with the format that you're playing and what cards you should expect to play against is going to be incredibly valuable. So, in general, what you want to be doing is you want to be boarding against the deck you're going to be playing against, not the deck you just played against, if that makes sense. The second piece of advice, I have for players if you're having trouble figuring out how to sideboard is I would highly recommend putting all 15 cards into your main deck and then cutting the 15 worse, as opposed to just trying to like make 1-for-1 exchanges. So it can feel very overwhelming when you're like, well, for each card I cut, I have to bring one in. Instead, bring in all 15 and like find the 15 worse. It's probably a disdainful stroke here, I think. So they can trade 2 tokens for this Wayward Swordtooth, but then, like, they have to chump there, which seems good for me, especially with another 5/5 coming. And, like, they're dead in the air to this next turn, too, which is nice. How often do you submit 61 these days? Never. I'm an adult now. I don't think they were holding up Veto because they left Land War Elves untapped on that one turn, so I think they were holding up Disdainful Stroke there. Based on leaving the Land War Elves up and not 2 lands for Veto. Listen, if your deck is blocking to kill Ghalta, you're probably terrible against Ghalta. Ghalta's real good against decks that don't contain the card Doomblade. And if you don't have Doomblade and Doomblade accessories, you're probably gonna have a bad time against Ghalta. Man, having 8 1-mana accelerants is like really scary. Really makes me want to try that in the Bantbo deck. Mega Greech, thank you for the Twitch Prime support. I appreciate that. Welcome, welcome. Thanks for keeping me employed here this month with that. I think that's good advice, too. Someone said make a sideboard guide for all of the top decks on Goldfish. I think that's excellent advice. I think a big mistake a lot of people make is they don't think about how they're going to sideboard until they're actually playing the matches. And spending some time thinking about how you want to sideboard before you actually are sitting in front of the opposing deck could go a long way for you. For like actual land drops at this point. I think that's fine since I have these 2 here. Like if we're going on just the Explore package beatdown again this game, that's going to be very reasonable. Do you have a jellyfish? The thing you do, Jeff, where you clone a deck and then do your board plan is an awesome way to prep. Yeah, that's exactly, if you've seen me do that on stream before, that's exactly what I would recommend doing to people. Copy your deck and then think about how you're going to sideboard. Had to sub for the King of the Hill reference. Appreciate your frankness with the viewers. Well, thanks for the support, Mega. Folks like you are the ones that allow me to keep doing this. Twitch Prime pays my mortgage. Looking for land so we can get to the Citadel. I guess I keep that because it makes my Wildgrowth Walker better. It's like eventually a land. I assume this is killing this. Oh, this thing is vigilance. I'm just gonna trade here. And the reason why I'm trading is I'm like pretty confident that if I attack them on the backswing, they're gonna trade. So I'm just like saving myself 2 points of damage. So the actual answer, Lego Arf, is that while adding thumbnails does mean YouTube recommends your videos more often, the amount of actual dollars that YouTube makes in terms of revenue means that it's just not worth the hours it's going to take me to do something like that. So for a concrete example, I streamed like 55 hours in the last week, which means, you know, I've worked 80 hours in the last week, and like even just spending another, you know, hour and a half adding YouTube thumbnails to everything would be a lot of added work. How greedy is it to cast down this? Probably pretty greedy. Candy. Yeah, basically everything I do or don't do is just like an expected value comparison. So like if I spend, you know, an hour and a half a week or 2 hours making YouTube thumbnails, is that going to generate more revenue than just like streaming for an extra 2 hours? Which is one of the things that's like kind of addictive about this job is like you can just like always stream more, right? So like anything I do outside of literally streaming has to be worth more monetary value than streaming.
Longer. Stand by and watch.
Sure.
I've got time.
Yeah, they're dead on board of the blast zone. Yeah, that's true too, Greg. So like, even if I expected something to like make the same amount of money as streaming for 2 extra hours, it's like, well, is doing this thing as much fun as streaming for 2 hours? Because like, generally speaking, I really enjoyed the streaming aspect of my job. The paperwork style, you know, responding to deck list submissions and formatting YouTube descriptions and stuff like that. That's more the paperwork, busy end type stuff. You can already find non-deck of the days on YouTube by going to youtube.com/Jeff Hoagland. You can also go to my website, magicesports.net, and click videos favorite. I actually don't even tweet out the deck of the day every day because you can find the playlist on the front page of my YouTube channel or my website. This hand, like, so this hand's a good example of, this hand's much better if this is an elf, right? Have I considered outsourcing some of the busy work? I have, but the dealing with payroll style stuff is a pain as a small business, and past payroll style stuff, like getting people that can do it in a timely manner is another thing. So like right now, formatting my YouTube videos, it's like, well, do people want thumbnails if they have to wait an extra 6 hours for me to, so like, is adding thumbnails worthwhile if I have someone else do it, if it means the videos from today don't post till tomorrow morning now? Like, is that a worthwhile difference? Oh, you better believe at some point my children are going to be responsible for doing it. 10 out of 10 better believe that my children are going to have to do it at some point. Yeah, I agree, Zach. I don't really have, like, clickbait titles on my videos either, so I think it's less important there, too. That being said, I mentioned this hand Grazer looked better than Elf. Or Elf looked better than Grazer. Because we're playing against Mono Red, the Grazer's actually looking pretty good here, right? Yeah, we've looked into that, Genesis. It comes up, there's complexities with, like, creating, whatever the corporation style is called, too. We talked to an accountant, who I should probably talk to a different accountant, because the one I talked to didn't really understand my job. Which is probably the expectation in most places. People just aren't going to understand my job. A lot of times, people don't look at the titles, though. Well, you know what they say. You're going to drown a horse in water trying to make it drink. And I know that's not the actual saying, but the takeaway there should be you can't help some stupid people that won't help themselves. There been any good Jund decks? Not that I've played so far this season. Struggling for that second green mana here. Yeah, to put my politics head here on for a split second, the tax code in the United States is kept complicated by companies like TurboTax that lobby to keep it complicated. So the companies that sell easy tax preparation software spend lots of money making sure taxes don't get easier to do. Do I want a Gaia's Blessing here? I think I want a Gaia's Blessing here. I mean, it's not... They're more tedious than complicated is a good word for it. Just like, good lord. Like, I'm definitely capable of understanding how the taxes work. It's just the amount of effort it takes is just like... The amount of effort it would take in proportion to the amount of money it would save me is just not worth it. Again, just like the expectation of it costs this to do this, etc. Yikes. Alright. Forest here, please. Forest here, please. Perfect. So, I'm going to play Jadelight Ranger as opposed to Wildgrowth Walker. And the reason for this is both of these are going away next turn. So hopefully this finds us a green source that doesn't hurt us. And we get to do this next turn. Actually, that can stay right there. Because next turn I'll do this. So this is going to die to a lightning strike. They're going to hit us for 2. They're going to hit us for 3. We'll end up at 7. And then we'll do this, go to 10 next turn. I think shuffling the unplayable Jadelight Ranger back in is correct. Well, that was the best card in their deck. They have a land on top too. Brutal. Do they have another 1-drop? Alright, they have a 1-drop on top of their deck. I'm gonna get Wizard's Lightning to tilt out of my chair. God, that's so unreal. What a frustrating game of Magic. Just like didn't have a second green source for forever. And then at the end when we finally unstumble, they have the best card on top of their deck into a combination of the best cards. So, against the aggressive decks, you just stop being a combo deck with this deck, because remember, our combo side does require our health total in order to combo, so we just cut all of this noise, and we board in Brontodons, Removal, and Blast Zones. And like I said, I think games like that, and this is why it's so important to not just look at your match record with a deck, is games like that really show that even though I was incredibly unfortunate, I still got to play a game, right? And that's what I like to look for, and I think that's very consistent like this, when it's like, well, things didn't really break our way, but I was still in that game up until that last turn. No, I don't think so. In general, I don't like bringing in Duress against the red decks, because while Duress is very good early, unless your deck's incredibly inefficient and has a lot of top end that you need to cut, I think it's important that all of your cards are live off the top of your deck in the mid game, because any game I win against red with this deck, we're going to make it to the mid game, and drawing a Duress that doesn't do anything while my opponent's empty-handed in the mid game is terrible. I think this deck is very competitive, Jaden. In fact, for the rest of this month, the easiest way for you can tell if I think a deck is tournament competitive is the decks that I think are competitive, you're going to see me playing on the ladder, and the decks that I think that are not competitive, I'm going to be playing off the ladder. London Mulligans falling down, falling down, falling down. London Mulligans falling down now, please, Watsy. Testing Gear, thank you for the Twitch Prime support. I appreciate that. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Thanks for keeping me employed here. That's just how Magic goes, right? You lose games where you just don't get to play. And sometimes, like, you know, we got incredibly unfortunate that entire match. We never found a second green source until it was too late in the first game. And then just Mulligan and died in that second game. What would you consider a reasonable substitute for Blast Zone in the sideboard? I don't think there's a reasonable substitute. Blast Zone is a very unique effect. Games like that are a good example of non-games, the London Mulligan's going to remove from Magic. So the way Magic works now, and being, you know, statistically speaking, we're incentivized under the current Mulligan rule to keep hands like that have a high potential payoff. Whereas with the London Mulligan, we would just Mulligan them looking for something better. Because we don't have a Scry. This is the first standard deck of the day, Captain Buckles. So part of the problem too, Lego, is that what's the word that I'm searching for? The way I produce content and post it to YouTube isn't YouTube friendly in terms of maximizing their algorithms. So YouTube doesn't like when you upload 5 videos a day, for example. So my content gets deprioritized from YouTube sharing it because of the volume of content that I'm uploading. And like YouTube doesn't send out notifications when you upload that many videos in that short of a time period. Basically, YouTube is very creator unfriendly, and the only reason I use it is because it's a better archive than Twitch. Camboni, thank you for the 4-month reset there. I appreciate that. Welcome back. To be fair, this deck's probably part of the reason why they're trending upward. Esperin missing a color. God bless. We've already got 7 power in play here, which is nice. What's wrong with the Twitch archive? Well, it's not permanent for 1. It's not particularly searchable for 2. I can't embed it cleanly in a playlist on my website for 3. Yeah, try if you're someone who frequently watches my content and you're not sure why I bother with YouTube, try using Twitch archive sometime. We'll see a real big difference. Alright, so they probably have an absorb here, right? I think I'm just gonna pass. They can also have a Kaya's Wrath that I'd be playing into. Yeah, the amount of effort I spend on YouTube videos proportional to the amount of income it generates is worthwhile. It's just spending more effort probably doesn't make it worthwhile. The YouTube, and this is something that's hard to track. I should probably, on my next sub-survey, think of a question that can help me track this, but it's kind of difficult to track how many subscribers I turn into on Twitch from posting my stuff to YouTube, because, like, I know I have a non-zero number of people who, like, subscribe on Twitch, but only ever watch on YouTube.
I'll protect you.
Hey, Hose Beats coming in with the brand new Prime support. I appreciate that. Welcome, welcome. Thanks for keeping me around. The Bant Proliferate in the queue is the build around for green-white Proliferate. Yes, Captain Buckles, if that was you. I think I just ignore them and smack their face here. This Teferi's not going to keep drawing them cards. Let's just put lethal in play. Yeah, I think there's a lot of people that only... I think that's one of the reasons why, like, my sub count is so much higher than, like, my average viewer count compared to a lot of people who stream. Because I have a number of people that are subbed that,
Here goes nothing.
mostly watch on YouTube. Swordtooth is kind of a unique effect that's not replaceable. So in combo style decks like this, you really can't substitute things meaningfully because these cards just like generate unique effects. Your deck becomes significantly worse without Swordtooth in it. You're more likely to brick and stuff like that.
Let's slow this down.
All right, well they're still dead on board, right? Because if they bounce anything other than the Wildgrowth Walker gets bigger when I re-explore next turn.
That's more like it.
We only subscribe in order to ask for timeouts. Very easy sideboard plan here. Duress is in, Grazer's out. Click submit. You could swap it for the 1 mana sorcery speed that lets you explore plus play an extra land that turn. Maybe that's close. It still means you're going to brick off while comboing more often, though. It was above an above average turn, Doc Prof. I watch you on YouTube all the time, but I feel like you're my friend when I watch you live. Well, welcome, Mulder. It's good to have you here. Evan, I mostly watch on YouTube, but I thought I'd stop in and watch a little bit. It seems like you're talking about people like me. Well, thanks for the Prime support. I appreciate that. Welcome, welcome. And DeFera, had to give my Bezo bucks to a friend for a while, but now he has a real job, so, well, thanks for the 2/3 of a year. Welcome back. Bear Canoe coming in hot with the half a year. And Jay Gross, thanks for the 15 months. This hand's, like, not super aggressive, but you just keep, like hands like this really show why Swordtooth is good. Your post-board game plan in these interactive matchups is often just, like, playing 5/5s and 6/6s and attacking them. Thief of Sanity. That's actually pretty scary. Although I guess I get to get Doomboy down next turn, so maybe it's not as scary. I get a timeout, so it feels more like I'm watching YouTube. Yep, got you. Well, in the event my control opponent doesn't have a counterspell or a removal spell, I get to play Doom Whisperer next turn, but that's, like, pretty unlikely, right? Ooh. Alright, so this is going to get to resolve. Syncopate. That's interesting. And unfortunately, if they have a removal spell here, I'm not going to get to surveil anything meaningful because they're just going to clear the top of my deck with Thief. Yeah, this could be a bit of a runaway on their part here. Huh. I wonder if them sideboarding in Thief is a reason to leave Grazer in my deck. I could see that. Might swap that for the next game. Ever tried to install Moksha on our clinics? I've not, but once upon a time there was someone on our user forums that claimed to have done it. There's a dependency list on the GitHub. I tried to install Arc Linux one time when I was an undergrad, and it's 2 days of my life I'll never get back. Sadly, I would direct you to the forum thread, but the Bodhi Linux forums had to get destroyed due to GDPR or whatever those European regulations were. Forget what the acronym was. I think it was GD something. So definitely want these Harpooners. Do I want these Grazers? Feel like I do. I'm gonna trim a path. Maybe I just trim Bond of Flourishing. That's probably fine. Hey, Izzy, thanks for the 10 months. Welcome back. Thanks for keeping me around. Yeah, General Data Protection Regulation. Yeah, GDPR. Basically means if you're a little person and you mess up having people's data, they can sue you for way more than you'll ever make in your lifetime. So... Man, I'm about to get syncopated, aren't I? Just a removal spell. Hey, Kamikaze, thanks for the 3 months. I appreciate the quarter of a year of support. Welcome back. Huh? Esper and Mistland drops. Name a more iconic duo. Oh, should have gone into full control mode here and surveilled in response. So a bit of a mistake on my part there. Hey, Teacup, thanks for the tip. I appreciate it. YouTube watchers represent. Throw this at Just Kai Friends. Will do. I guess I can Doom Boy here and try and keep comboing, huh? Sure, let's do that at least once. I guess they're not gonna pressure my health total at all. Looking for a Wildgrowth Walker. I guess binning the Gaea shuffles my deck here, which is annoying. Another Doom Boy. Sure. Yay, we beat someone who couldn't play Magic. Yay. Yeah, I just don't think Ajani's very good, Captain Buckles. So, Ajani's basically a planeswalker that can't generate any card advantage on its own, which makes it pretty bad. Generally speaking, you want cards that are individually a little bit more powerful. Oh, the Gaea, y'all are monsters. Y'all are monsters. We're batting about 500 today so far with this one. Yeah, basically I think in order for Ajani to be good, you need his plus to be worth a card, and a lot of the time his plus is not worth a card. Mono blue! Mono blue, where have you been, friendo? I'm excited. We got blast zones. That being said, we're probably dead here. Again, one thing I would strongly discourage people from doing is making sweeping statements that sounds like you're trying to define Magic as a whole based on your own anecdotal evidence. I mean, not really. Was I winning that game with an Assassin's Trophy? No, I was not. I think arguing that I got punished there is probably some hot nonsense. And again, just fully boarding out the combo against anything remotely aggressive. I beat 2 mono blue decks yesterday. They auto-conceded the match to Blast Zone coming down. That's great. That's truly fantastic. Well, thanks, Testy. Good to have you here. Do you think they'd concede the game if I just started with my hand face up on the table? I think if I was just like, yo, dog, here's what I got. Are we good? We could just, like, move to the next one. If you're having trouble climbing out of the lower ranks while playing interactive decks, I would encourage you to stop playing interactive decks. A lot of the interactive decks, like Blue-Black Kefnit and Jeskai Control, are just worse than playing good proactive decks. Green, red, Sarkin, and white aggro splash blue would be my two recommended decks this season. I mean, there's nothing really there to give thoughts on, Fitzbull. It's unfortunate to see. I hope everything's okay with Jerry. It's unfortunate to see a good Magic player have to tap out, but anybody else remember the time we added 2 lands to our deck for this game? I boarded up to 25 lands. I think I'm just supposed to hit with both of these. Just like force their hand, basically. They're probably gonna dive down to protect this. No, okay, sure. Alright. Hand's okay. As far as I'm aware, they haven't posted a Y Camboni machine, and we might not ever know. So what are we hoping for here? Like land into explore creature? O3s with weak reach are busted. Wow, are we gonna see them Curious Obsession this year? This is super aggressive. They haven't seen spot removal out of us, but like they saw Kraul Harpooner, right? So like... Yep, definitely could be like, hopefully it's something positive for Jerry and just like was offered a reasonable job outside of Magic. Because like, while the MPL contract is like a good bit of money, like it's nothing, it doesn't have longevity, right? So like if you're someone who's looking for a career and you get offered one, you probably take that instead of being in the MPL. Mono blue, there is a card that it's it's a 2 mana enchantment that makes a creature a 1/1 and lose all abilities. So that's like a small upgrade. God. Where are my lands? So that's like a small upgrade from some of the other cards they've played in the past. Yeah, it's a 1-year contract, and we still don't know how you get back into the MPL. Like, they still just haven't announced how you, like, what the MPL next season looks like, or how. This might be wrong, because it lets them fart the Terramander here. Maybe I should have kept the cast down, even though I'm land screwed. Or how they replace the members, yep. Howdy, troll. Well, hopefully we run off some lands here and get to, like, get these Swordtooths down and be aggressive. So, like, next turn I can go Swordtooth, land, Bond of Flourishing. Then, like, start attacking for 5. Worth noting I can't currently block this card, though. Would love to draw Doom Boy here. I guess leading on this is bad if they have Spell Pierce. Oh, I guess it also means I can't Swordtooth this turn, huh? Yeah, that was loose. I'm dumb. If I Swordtooth first, though, I could play the other land and play the... And in for cast down. Yeah, they have 2 spots to fill, right? They need to fill Jerry's spot, and they need to fill Turtenwald's spot. Max owns the world with the 8-month resub. I appreciate that. Welcome back. Thanks for keeping me around. Oh, they already, right. The Autumn was Owen's spot, right? Yuya is the other one. God, we've just lost so many MPL players, I've lost track of who's there and who's not. They added Savits to the pro scene, to the MPL. Darn it, I knew I should have streamed more Hearthstone. It's unfortunate. Like that. I'm just. I think Citadel's more powerful in a vacuum, Pie Guy. Yikes, we are pretty dead here. Yeah, even if I hit like a blast zone at this point, we're still pretty far behind. You could probably dual stream it. Yeah, they ascended off to Swordtooth. Yeah, we're pretty dead here. Just stumbled and bumbled a little bit too long. Like, don't get me wrong. I'm actually subscribed to Savits, and he's one of the streamers. He's one of the streamers that I like watching when he streams best of 3 constructed Magic, but like, I felt like they had done a really good job of including pick players in the MPL, and like even filling the slots in like with Autumn, who won the Mythic Championship, of like players who had like earned their stay basically. And I get that he finished in the top 4 of the Mythic Invitational, but like that's still like, there are a lot of players with a lot of pedigree out there that like, that have a lot of pedigree, that have a lot of Magic results behind them. So, I don't know. Congrats to Savits. He seems like a great guy. I like his streams, but he seems like a weird choice to fill. Correct, yes. Correct. There's in no way to imply that Savits is like not a good player or a bad person, but like it feels weird that like they have been filling in so many of the slots with people who had like a bunch of Magic results up until this point, and now to deviate from that. Tommy Grubbo, thank you for the brand new Prime support. I appreciate that. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Thanks for keeping in mind. Sure, but if they wanted things like that from a PR standpoint, they should have had the initial Pro League include people like that from the get-go. So, like, why... And this is, like, again, the lack of communication, right? So, like, why the pivot from... If you want things like that to bring attention, you should have started the Pro League with, like, 16 Magic Pros and, like, 16 personalities or some number of personalities, right? So, like, why deviate from like what they've established with this change? Maybe, oh, you know what it was? Maybe I should have stopped streaming Arena to stream Auto Chess for a while. That's what I should have done, because Savits took a month off of streaming Magic and just streamed Auto Chess. Maybe they want Auto Chess streamers. Is that still a thing? Are people still playing that? Alright, anywho, Green-Black Citadel. I think we went a little bit less than 50%. I don't know that I really have any feedback. I don't think I'd change anything. I feel like we ran a little bit medium in some of those matches. Like, we had a lot of, we like missed our land drop, or we like stumbled and died, or like we flooded a little bit, so... Yeah, and like someone from an esports org, like Wyatt Darby's literally a Pro Tour winner, right? Like he's on Tempo Storm. Should have streamed more Pokemon Go, right? He hit Mythic ranked up.